There's a silent killer in our waters. It's turning our lakes green, our beaches toxic, and our ecosystems upside down. But today I'm going to share how we can turn this enemy into our greatest ally. I want you to picture a lake you once knew, clear water, teeming with life. Now, imagine it covered with a thick green sludge. Maybe you've seen this before. The air is heavy with a foul odor, signs warn against contact with the water. These are harmful algal blooms, and they're not just a coincidence. They're a crisis, and they're costing us billions. In the past decade, these blooms have increased dramatically in both frequency and severity. They've caused mass fish die-offs, made dogs fatally ill. In 2014, nearly 500,000 residents in Toledo, Ohio, were left without safe drinking water for days due to a massive bloom in Lake Erie. One state alone has allocated $500 million to fight them. Nationwide, the costs are in the billions. Yet despite this spending, the blooms persist. Why? Because we've been fighting against nature instead of working with it. We've been treating these blooms as invaders to be eradicated. But they're not invaders, nor are they anomalies. They're the new normal. What we're dealing with isn't just algae. It's a complex, symbiotic relationship between algae, azolla, and duckweed. Together, these three organisms form a kind of superorganism that can double in mass every 90 minutes. And traditional removal methods just can't keep up. We need a new approach. That's where our solution comes in. We've developed a technology that doesn't just clean up algae blooms. It works with the ecosystem to prevent them from forming in the first place. And it does this while generating value. Let me introduce you to EVIE, the engineered vessel for improving the environment. EVIE is an autonomous robot designed to navigate aquatic environments. It runs itself, it powers itself, and it pays for itself. In essence, we've created a technology that becomes a part of the ecosystem and works to restore harmony while generating value. Its brain is a patented sensor that seeks out cyanobacteria before they form into algae blooms. This allows EVIE to act preventively, not reactively. EVIE's power comes entirely from renewable sources, wind and solar. This isn't just an environmental choice, it's a practical choice. It allows EVIE to operate continuously in remote areas without the need to refuel or rely on external power sources. But what truly sets EVIE apart is its ability to convert the algae it collects into synthetic fuel. Let me break down this process for you. First, EVIE collects algae and water from its environment. The mixture is sent through a unique ultracavitating nozzle. Cavitation is when water is forced to move at extreme speeds, briefly vaporizing and creating vacuum bubbles that produce temperatures of up to 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit as they collapse. The same force that erodes boat propellers over time and that pistol shrimps use to stun their prey. This intense cavitation subjects the organic matter to supercritical temperatures and pressures, physically restructuring the molecules through a process called hydrous pyrolysis. A portion of the biomass and water are then converted into hydrocarbons, specifically 3-chain hydrocarbons known as paraffin wax. Those resulting hydrocarbons then float to the surface, while the remaining water and biomass are recycled back into the system. While most engineers design systems to resist cavitation, we've harnessed this powerful force for good. It's a patented process that we call hydrodynamic reforming, transforming algae into paraffin wax that sells commercially for $8.50 a gallon. Depending on available energy and biomass, EVIE can produce up to 10 gallons of fuel per day, over $60,000 in revenue per year from paraffin production alone. Think of EVIE as a highly efficient floating refinery. It takes in polluted water and algae and outputs clean water and valuable fuel. But it's more than just a cleaning machine. EVIE's process helps balance the entire ecosystem. Its thrusters aerate the water, reducing foul odors and improving overall water quality. The nutrients from the processed algae are returned to the water in a form that doesn't fuel excessive algae growth. In tests with toxic blooms from Florida, our process removed 50% of the toxins, all without using any chemicals or creating waste streams. Let's look at a real-world example. In a farm pond in Schwenksville, Pennsylvania, we faced a critical situation. The pond was experiencing a fish die-off due to excessive nutrient runoff from cattle and a harmful algae bloom. We deployed EVIE and the results were remarkable. It balanced CO2 levels, significantly reduced the harmful algae population, and improved the overall water quality. Most impressively, EVIE has been operating continuously for over 5 years, producing fuel and maintaining water quality without the need for any replacement parts. But EVIE's innovation goes beyond water cleanup. It represents a new approach to renewable energy. Traditional algae processing methods are energy intensive, making them impractical when connected to the grid. EVIE solves this problem by harnessing abundant yet intermittent wind and solar energy to power its operations. Here's where it gets interesting. EVIE doesn't just use this energy directly, it converts it into a stable, transportable form. When renewable energy is abundant, EVIE uses it to power the HDR process, converting algae into paraffin. The paraffin is a stable, energy-dense fuel that can be easily transported and used whenever it's needed. In essence, EVIE turns intermittent, location-bound energy into dispatchable, dense, synthetic fuel. EVIE isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It's adaptable to various environments, from small ponds to large lakes, even coastal areas affected by red tide. A single EVIE can produce significant amounts of algae, but a fleet could transform an entire ecosystem. We're now ready for the next phase, replication. We're finalizing open source plans that will allow communities to build and deploy their own EVs. This isn't just about cleaning water, it's about creating local jobs, new revenue streams, and sustainable energy sources. It's about working with nature, not against it. Imagine that lake we started with, the one choked with algae. Now picture it transformed. The water is clear again, fish are thriving, and people are enjoying its beauty. But there's more. Small boats dot the lake. EVs quietly at work. They're not just cleaning the water, they're producing clean energy and creating jobs. The lake has become a source of pride and prosperity in the community. This isn't a far-off dream. It's happening now, and you can be a part of it. We're not asking for massive government funding or corporate buyouts. We're inviting communities, entrepreneurs, and environmentalists to join us in building a network of EVs. EVIE represents a fundamental shift in how we approach environmental challenges. It turns a problem into a resource, a cost into an investment. It's practical, it's profitable, and it's available now. Let's turn the tide on algae blooms and create a cleaner, more prosperous future for our communities and for our planet. Thank you.